Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't think this week's call was too eventful, so I didn't end up doing a commentary on it. I plan on doing one for next Tuesday, but there's a minute long segment from the call I wanted to go over. This will be a shorter commentary, short, as George likes to call it, a shorty, which is also what women calls dong. Here we go.
I don't care when he starts telling me how to pronunciate shit. When someone tells me how to pronunciate shit when I've already, then that's when I.
So, right off the bat, George is talking about pronunciating stuff, which isn't a word, by the way. He says that because he can't say the word pronunciation correctly. So, he says that for some unknown reason. Also, the reason that George gets so offended when people say that he mispronunciates words is because he knows he says them wrong, but is too narcissistic to admit he's saying it wrong and fix it. Because everything George Yared does is correct and should not be changed or criticized for any reason unless he says so. We have like a 10-page list in Discord of things George has said and fucked up in the English language. Whether it's stuff like documented or anonymous, or does a bear shit in the woods so he really shit. That's why he gets so mad.
That's like calling me that's like the most. That's like a racial slur to me.
With telling you how to say a word?
Telling me that about me, my education, or I can't pronunciate a word, or my education or whatever. When you start, that's almost like a racial slur to me.
Well, George should know all about racial slurs since they come out of his mouth frequently. Oh, so sorry. I mean when he's angry, which is like 90% of his day, so it still tracks. And like I said before, he gets so mad about it because deep down inside he knows he's a dipshit. It's extremely obvious that George is one of the most insecure people on the face of the planet, as much as the facade he'd like to put on to make it appear like he's not. He's not fooling anybody and getting so butthurt about trivial stuff like that would either people would learn from or just have it roll off their back isn't something George can do.
Why do you
Because
get so
I
offended
took
by
public
that?
speaking. I took public speaking and broadcast communications. I did all of that shit. I took Dale Carnegie School of Public Broadcasting.
What does it tell you about the quality of class this place puts on if idiots like George are allowed in or given some kind of cert for completion? George can't even say Carnegie right. He says it wrong every time it comes out of his mouth. The same way him saying Vietnamese wrong differently every single time. That public speaking thing George took had to have been some open public class for just a couple days. No way George is getting up to do an exercise in public speaking and going to take it while the teacher and his peers rip him apart for a lack of fluency in the English language as his first language. So for anyone who might find a Dale Carnegie class, go to it and report back to us how big of a joke it is. He's constantly talking about that public speaking class and he's still absolutely terrible at it. I don't think you can teach George anything that doesn't involve operating something inside or having to do with the car. And it's extremely obvious given how he can't read something out loud without tripping over his own words every 3 seconds and having to pause.
Used to be a DJ, for God's sakes. I had that bitch tell me that I can't. No, I don't think so. He's done. He's done in my book.
1. What does being a DJ have to do with being a good public speaker? DJs barely talk, if at all. Even if you have a DJ for a wedding, they aren't making speeches and stuff in front of a crowd. This is how I imagine George DJing a wedding. Congratulations! If we can get the bride and groom up here, I'm seeing some poontang out there, and if you want to ride Space Mountain later with an after party at Red Lobster, I'll pay for the sex and the dinner. Woo! Now here's one of my favorite songs, All That She Wants by Ace of Base. Enjoy. Loser! But you heard it from George. That's all it takes for him to ice you out, criticizing him. And this idiot wonders why he has no friends. Imagine being a quote friend of George and having to listen to him constantly fuck up the same words over and over again and not being able to politely correct him. So when he goes on to make a tirade about trolls and misuses the word, he's looking like a complete idiot to the entire world. Nice, kept this under 5 minutes. I was hesitant to give myself a time limit and state one in the beginning like George does. Oh, this can be a 5-minute video, short and sweet, to the point. And then he always ends up going over by like 15 minutes. Hope you all enjoyed this quote, shorty. I'll be back with more commentary soon. Thanks for listening. Have a good one, ladies and gents.